House of Cards is brought to you by Drizzly, your online liquor store. Available in over 95 cities across North America, Drizzly offers a huge selection and competitive pricing with a side of personalized content. Now there's no need to leave the house. Get alcohol delivered in less than an hour by Drizzly. Head on over to drizzly.com and order today. And now get $5 off your first order of $20 or more when using promo code DRINK19 at checkout. Shop beer, wine, and liquor with drizzly.com.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls,
You're listening to House of Cards.
Today, the game is different.
I want to gamble. Gambling is a very serious business. Is that clear?
Welcome to House of Cards. Dave Weishaupt with you here, deep from the swamps of Jersey. We got a great show coming up for you. Deals are made all the time in the sports betting world, but this deal may change the landscape of the industry in the United States. Penn National Gaming just made an agreement with a group of the most prominent companies in the sports betting industry. I'm going to talk with Matt Rybaltowski from usbets.com and sportshandle.com to help us break it down and tell us what it all means.
This is Ashley Adams. We have a great guest. His name is Marvin Carlins. He's written a book called A Chip and a Prayer. I think you will enjoy listening to him. I know this is a great book all about his adventure at the World Series of Poker. So stay tuned. We'll be back after a quick break.
House of Cards is brought to you by Drizzly, your online liquor store. Available in over 95 cities across North America, Drizzly offers a huge selection and competitive pricing with a side of personalized content. Now there's no need to leave the house. Get alcohol delivered in less than an hour by Drizzly. Head on over to drizzly.com and order today. And now get $5 off your first order of $20 or more when using promo code DRINK19 at checkout. Shop beer, wine, and liquor with drizzly.com.
Yeah, you, come here. Haven't you heard? We don't need to hide anymore.
Now, we can shop privately for adult products at adamandeve.com. They've got massage oils, lingerie, and lots more we can't mention here.
Use offer code SPICE404.
They'll give you 50% off almost any one item, 3 free DVDs, free mystery gift, and free shipping. That's 50% off, free shipping, and more. Private shopping starts at adamandeve.com.
You're listening to House of Cards.
Where was the house? Where was the House of Cards?
Welcome back to House of Cards. Dave Weishottle with you. Since sports betting has become legal last year, it seems that huge deals are coming out on a weekly basis. Sportsbook operators, casinos, online platforms are all scrambling to get a piece of the sports betting market. And in the past couple of weeks, one of the biggest deals was executed that could change the sports betting landscape. And to help us understand this massive deal, we have one of the best gambling writers in the country from USBets.com and SportsHandle.com, Matt Rybaltowski. Matt, thanks for coming on.
Thanks for having me, Dave.
You know, it seems like everyone's buzzing about this. As one person called it, a mega deal. I guess everyone wants to label something a mega deal. And at the heart of it is the Penn National Gaming. Before we get into the particulars of the agreement they made, tell us a little something about Penn National Gaming. I mean, before this deal, what was their position in the sports betting marketplace? I know they're a huge company, but were they the leaders in the sports betting marketplace before this deal?
No, they weren't. That title or that mantle probably went to William Hill, which is just growing like wildfire, especially in Nevada and other parts of the country. And William Hill has always been the global leader, especially in Europe and over in the UK. So that's really one of the things to look at from this deal is whether it will create an arms race between Penn National and William Hill, because as you probably know, there was that other big deal a few weeks ago between Eldorado and Caesars, and Eldorado has a 25% stake in William Hill. So with this Penn National market access agreement, where 4 major online operators are gaining access to 19 new states, it really creates this titanic battle between those two companies there.
Yeah, it certainly does. And you alluded to it just now. This deal involves some of the major players in the sports betting industry. Who are the companies that are involved with the Penn National Gaming deal?
So what stands out from this deal is that Penn National is establishing a new portfolio called Penn Interactive Ventures, and within the portfolio there will be 4 online sports betting companies headlined by DraftKings, and then there's also the Stars Group, the Score, and PointsBet. And what's notable about the Stars Group is they reached a deal with Fox Sports, and the Fox betting platform is set to launch very soon. They haven't released an exact date, but it could occur near the start of the football season or around the World Series, because Fox has the media rights for both leagues there. So there's definitely 4 major players that are added to the portfolio within this deal.
You know, it seems like there's a lot of moving parts with regard to this deal. Has it been spelled out how each one of these companies fit into the Penn National plans for the market?
Yeah, absolutely. And one of the things that really stands out about the deal is the long-term ramifications, because some of the states that these operators are going to gain access to don't have plans to launch sports betting until 2021 or even beyond. And in particular, those are states like Florida and Texas, which plan to be major markets, possibly top 5 nationwide. And DraftKings will receive market access in both those states through that deal. And the Stars Group has an agreement in place for Texas as well. So I think those 2 states are ones to really look at there. And both in terms of PointsBet and the Score, this new portfolio from Penn National is gaining an equity stake in those companies. So that's another aspect of the deal to focus on.
You know, you mentioned that 4 of the companies involved in this deal were primarily online providers. Is this why the deal was done, for a stronger online presence for Penn National, or is this for retail sports books as well?
Absolutely, and it's it's a great point. So these four companies are gaining access through what is known as a skin. And what a skin is when an online company partners with a brick and mortar casino that already has a license in a certain state. So in terms of Penn National, they have licenses in 19 states already. So it's beneficial for both sides because it allows these four books to expand throughout the country. With DraftKings, I think they're gaining access to 7 states, and then it also allows Penn National on the other end to add all these partners and grow their brand. So there's really a win-win on both sides here.
We'll be right back with more House of Cards right after this quick break.
You're listening to the House of Cards.
Night. Not thrilling, but night.
Welcome back to House of Cards. Dave Weishottle with you. For those of you just joining us, I'm talking with Matt Rybaltowski from SportsHandle.com and USBets.com. You know, I'm glad you brought up the skins because when I first read about this deal, the first thing that popped into my head was the skins. You know, different states have different regulations with regard to how many skins a licensed operator can have. Is there something in the deal that gives priority to a certain company with regards to a skin in a certain state?
It really depends on the state, and most immediately, it's important to focus on Pennsylvania, and Pennsylvania only allows casinos to award one skin for sports betting, and in the months leading up to this deal, Penn National lobbied regulators in Pennsylvania pretty heavily to limit their policy to one skin. They took the position there that if you allow, say, 2 to 3 skins, then the market becomes real saturated. There's too many operators. All you have to do is look in New Jersey and see the large number of operators there. So by having one skin, that really allows Penn National to control the market. And some of these other states, like Indiana allows 2 and 3 skins, and all 4 of the sportsbook operators are going to launch there. So I think you have to take a closer look and look at it more on a state-by-state basis than just a large-scale national view there.
You know, when it comes to sports books, the casual observer recognizes DraftKings, PointsBet, the Score, the Stars Group, but many who are looking at this from a distance are not quite familiar with Kambi, who is also part of the deal. Can you talk to us about Kambi and what their role is with regard to this agreement?
Yeah, well, Kambi is very, very instrumental in the deal, and historically, Kambi has operated in Europe and in some of the areas in Scandinavia, and so Kambi is a B2B technology provider, and so through this deal, Kambi is going to provide technology both on a front end perspective and then a back end perspective. So think of Kambi almost as a conduit or a messenger between Penn National and then these four books in terms of technology. So when you think of DraftKings mobile app or DraftKings website, now that they're working hand in hand with Penn National, they're also partnering with Kambi to facilitate that technology there. So that's on the front end. And then from a customer perspective, the customers are more interested in the back end, because Kambi is advising these companies and Penn National on pricing issues, pricing for pregame lines, in-game lines, props, parlays, teasers, that type of thing, and so Kambi is going to play a real large role here in how that works, and it's a major move for Kambi to become involved in this deal.
You know, whenever we talk about deals being made in the sports betting industry, at the heart of a lot of these deals is data, whether it's from third-party companies or from the leagues themselves. Do you think Penn National's next move is to make a deal with a professional sports league in order to obtain data, or can they, under this agreement, utilize the data from their partners? For example, I know DraftKings has a deal with MLB. Will Penn National be able to utilize that data stream, or are they going to make deals themselves with the particular sports leagues?
It's a really strong point. And interestingly, when Penn National had their Q2 earnings call last week, they did not address it at all. But you have to think that Penn National has much more leverage now through this deal than they did a week ago before it was announced. So there hasn't been much out there on whether Penn National has looked into becoming an authorized gaming operator of the MLB or another league like the NBA, but it's probably something that they should consider over the next few months.
You know, I saw that the Stars Group was part of the deal. I mean, I automatically inferred that, you know, maybe this agreement doesn't stop at sports betting and that this deal could include something else. Could this deal include online casinos or online poker in the future? It might. Again, that's not something that Penn National has addressed specifically when it comes to the Stars Group, but I think it's a real interesting point, especially considering the Stars Group and their relationship with Fox. So that has lots of ramifications there in terms of maybe poker broadcasts on Fox and how that could be incorporated to online gaming and that sort of thing. You mentioned Fox. I mean, is Penn National quite possibly starting to explore some deals with regard to media companies? I mean, whenever I see these deals, these big mega deals, there's a media element always involved. Is this the type of deal that Penn National would build upon and approach a media outlet like Fox, as you mentioned? Yeah, well,
a Penn National executive mentioned that on the earnings call that even though they already have first and second and primary skins in place with these sportsbook operators, that does not preclude them from pursuing various third-party media and technology deals. So that's definitely something to to look at, given just the power and the enormity of Fox Sports there.
Yeah, what does this do for Penn National? Are they automatically vaulted to the head of the class in the sports betting marketplace, or do they still have some work to do to, I guess William Hill is the big dog at the top. Do they still have some work to do to overtake William Hill?
Yeah, well, that's another thing to look at, because a number of these states that these new sportsbook operators that have partnered with Penn National are entering are just about to launch operations. Especially you look at Iowa and Indiana. That's what Penn National said they're immediately focused on, because they're about to launch in Q3. So I think it's a little hard to tell at this moment if it vaults Penn National above a William Hill or above an MGM when it comes to sports betting, but it certainly places them in the discussion. That's for sure.
We'll be right back with more House of Cards right after this quick break. Hey, this is Dave Weishuttle from House of Cards with your House of Cards gaming report for the week of August 12, 2019. 888 Poker is launching a new platform on its New Jersey site. The Orbit platform is said to have quicker navigation and interface response times, and will also add 15 table games, 239 slot games, and 13 live dealer tables. 888 Poker is the only platform that is operating in all three of the legal online poker states of New Jersey, Nevada, and Delaware. MGM has announced that it will be raising the resort fees in 3 of its properties on the Las Vegas Strip. MGM says it will increase the fees by $6 at the Videra, Aria, and the Bellagio. The increase brings the daily resort fee of the properties to $45, matching the fees of the Wynn Encore, Wynn Las Vegas, the Venetian, and the Palazzo. And finally, fans of Star Trek can try their hand at a new skill-based game. GameCo has released a machine based on Star Trek Deep Space Nine. The game is entitled Red Alert and requires the player to make quick decisions to protect passengers of the USS Defiant. How much you win depends on your skill in playing the game. So get to a casino and start saving the universe. If any news or tips regarding casinos, gaming, or legislation, send us an email at newsroom@houseofcardsradio.com and follow us on Twitter at HOC Radio.
You're listening to the House of Cards.
Well, don't take it too hard. I've done a lot of stupid things in my life, too.
Stupid? What do you mean, stupid?
Welcome back to House of Cards. Dave Weishuttle with you here. For those of you just joining us, I'm talking with Matt Rybaltowski from SportsHandle.com and USBets.com. You know, you alluded to it before, but I'm curious, how does this really change the betting market? Are we going to see an arms race between William Hill and the other sportsbook providers, and to actually top this or to keep pace with Penn National, or what's going to happen in the near future?
Yeah, I think you could see one, and I think you're also going to see a good amount of industry consolidation, and you just have to look back to what happened with daily fantasy sports when it blew up a few years ago. it started out with DraftKings and FanDuel as the leaders of the market, but then there were smaller websites and companies that were involved, and all of a sudden they just disappeared as those companies got larger. So I think that's a major issue in the industry, is how these industry behemoths will continue to grow, continue to add states and expand their operations, and if the smaller companies that don't merge with them, if they sort of get squeezed out of the market there.
When I first heard about this deal, I was shocked, and I read your great article in sportshandle.com, and I was amazed at the complexity and thoroughness of the whole agreement. I mean, it took me by surprise. Did it take a lot of people by surprise? I mean, were there any rumblings in the marketplace to indicate that this kind of deal was headed down the pike?
There were some rumblings, and we spoke off the record with a few industry executives that there was a major deal in the pipeline, and it was about to break, but we weren't sure it involved Penn National, and across the industry, Penn National was pretty quiet about it. They kept it close to the vest. So, like you said when we led off, I think by far it's the largest deal that has occurred since the Supreme Court decision, and the ramifications will just last for years, maybe into 2025, when you just consider the fact that DraftKings is looking to get into Florida and Texas, and those states are nowhere near launching at all.
Matt, we're running out of time, but can you give out where people can read your articles and follow you on social media?
Yeah, it's on sportshandle.com, and then I'm also on Twitter at Matt Rybeltowski, and that's MattRyb as in boy, ALTOWSKI.
Well, when there's something happening important in the sports betting world, and when something needs explaining, like this amazing deal from Penn National, we call Matt Rybeltowski from USBets.com and SportsHandle.com. Matt, thanks for coming on and explaining this very important happening in the sports betting world.
Thanks so much for having me.
Stick around. We'll be right back with more House of Cards. Everyone knows New Jersey has the best of everything. The best casinos, the best table games, the best slots, and now it has the best sports book. PointsBet.com. PointsBet has one of the best sign-up offers in the state. Go to PointsBet.com and sign up using our promo code HOUSE. That's HOUSE, and you'll get a $50 bonus bet plus 2 risk-free bets up to $1,000. So sign up today at PointsBet.com using our promo code HOUSE and start having some real fun. That's promo code HOUSE, HOUSE. PointsBet. Stay sharp. Must be 21 years or older and in New Jersey to place a bet. Terms and conditions apply. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Wake up, poker fans!
You're listening to House of Cards.
Welcome back, everybody. This is Ashley Adams, your host of House of Cards. We are really fortunate. We have a lot of different guests on, people from all parts of the gambling world. This guy is great. We're going to talk to Marvin Carlins. He's written A Chip and a Prayer, and I can just tell from reading the book that he is a fascinating guy, very self-deprecating. He's really incredibly accomplished poker player and writer. He's with us now. Marvin, are you there?
I am here.
So, as I was saying to you off the air, I could not put your book down. I started it last night. I read it all night till like 1 a.m. What a great book. Tell our listeners about what this is and how you got into writing it.
Well, actually, this book was the culmination of a bucket list item for me. It was a dream. I always wanted to go out to Las Vegas and play the World Series, not just the main event, the whole series. And the only problem, I had two problems. Number one, I'm married, and number two, money. Yeah. So what I was saying was that I had this dream, this bucket list item, where I wanted to play in the World Series, not just the main event, but the whole 6 weeks. And my only limitations in gaining my objective was I was married and I needed the money. So my wife was gracious enough to allow me to do it after I earned the money. And I went out to Las Vegas, and the title of the book says it all, A Chip and a Prayer. I really knew what I was up against, but I just wanted to give myself a shot at poker immortality.
Well, I think you've achieved it, if not in your play, although we'll talk about that because it was actually successful in more ways than you had expected. But in your writing, you certainly have chronicled it for all time. What I find interesting are two things. First, you seem to undersell yourself because you describe yourself in the book as a kind of a duffer, a lower-tier serious player. But I looked you up, Marvin. You are a 300,000-plus winner on the tournament circuit. You are the 339th most successful poker player in all of Florida. Tell us a little about your poker exploits before this bucket list came about.
Actually, poker to me was my methadone for craps. I was a degenerate craps player, and I lost a lot of money playing craps. And the thing about poker is it gave me all the excitement of craps. It gave me the potential of winning a lot of money, and it took a lot of time to lose money compared to a fastly moving craps table. So I really only seriously played poker for about 4 years. But it's a wonderful experience, and the one thing it did teach me, and that's what came through in the book, is humility. Because even the best poker players, the true professionals, say that you are fortunate if you win 18 to 20% of the time. That doesn't mean final table; it just means you get in the money. And I'm not used to losing. I mean, I wouldn't want to stay in a profession where I was constantly losing. So it was very difficult for me to go into poker because in tournament play, with a variance the way it is, you can go a whole year and never get enough money, even though you might be better than the other players at the table.
Right. There's a plus and a minus in that when you shoot crap, at least when you lose, you know it's not your fault that you lost. It's, you go up, you go down. It's totally in the hands of the gambling gods. But at poker,
absolutely,
right, you get frustrated, don't you, when you're losing because you feel like, it's because I suck, not because I'm unlucky.
You're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. Craps is a negative expectation game. In the long run, you're going to lose. In poker, there is a skill element involved, and that makes you feel even worse, like you say, because when you lose, you turn to yourself and say, I can't blame the poker gods. I've got to blame myself, and that's a kind of a harsh reality and a kind of a brutal one.
Well, one of the things that impresses me about your book, and I want to get a little into some of the backstory on how you got somebody to take you on in your writing career. But one of the things that impresses me is your humility, your tale of self-criticism at different places is revealing. I mean, you're very transparent, an overused word, with your own play. Did you have a coach? Did you have somebody that actually you went to try to make you better?
No. I've read books, and of course I've talked with people, and the table is a great experience giver. But I learned my poker the hard way. I paid for it.
Okay, so tell our listeners a little bit about this story, this journey you were on. Was there a best moment? Was there a worst moment? Could you talk about those?
I think the best moment was the anticipation. In one of these chapters, I think it's entitled "Revel in the Journey" or "Skip the Trip." a lot of times when I used to go out to Vegas from Los Angeles, I drive out instead of fly. And people would always ask me, why do you want to drive 4 hours in the desert to get there? And I say, because once you actually reach the table, reality sets in. You either win or you lose. But those 4 hours beforehand, the anticipation, you run through the various scenarios, the excitement, the possibility, the $500,000 bracelet on your hand, the cheering throngs of people, everybody congratulating you, all the dreams coming true. That can all be run through in your head as you drive through this desolate area on the way to Las Vegas. So I drove all the way out from Florida, actually, from Tampa. It's about a 4-day trip, and all the time was fantasizing about this activity I was about to partake in. So I really did enjoy that. Of course, once I got there, it's like walking from a hot air into an air-conditioned room. Cold reality set in pretty quickly. And I went out with a very large bankroll. I had committed $50,000 to this project, and the good news is that I actually did place in 6 events, and the bad news is I lost $77,000.
Listeners, we're going to cut away. We'll be back after a quick break.
House of Cards is brought to you by Drizzly, your online liquor store. Available in over 95 cities across North America, Drizzly offers a huge selection and competitive pricing with a side of personalized content. Now there's no need to leave the house. Get alcohol delivered in less than an hour by Drizzly. Head on over to drizzly.com and order today. And now get $5 off your first order of $20 or more when using promo code DRINK19 at checkout. Shop beer, wine, and liquor with drizzly.com.
Yeah, you, come here. Haven't you heard? We don't need to hide anymore.
Now, we can shop privately for adult products at adamandeve.com. They've got massage oils, lingerie, and lots more we can't mention here.
Use offer code
SPICE404.
They'll give you 50% off almost any one item, 3 free DVDs, free mystery gift, and free shipping. That's 50% off, free shipping, and more.
Private shopping starts at adamandeve.com.
You're listening to House of Cards. Check out our website at houseofcardsradio.com.
Hi, welcome back, listeners. This is Ashley Adams. You're listening to House of Cards. Listen, Marvin, we're talking to Marvin Carlins, who is the author of a great book, probably a lot of great books, but we're talking to him about one book in specific, A Chip and a Prayer. I was curious to know, was there a worst moment? I mean, you lost a lot of money in the end, but was there a nadir, a bottoming out that you felt during this adventure?
Yeah, there was. And I'll tell you what it was. It was the sudden realization that I wasn't about to quit my day job. I realized that when you play poker for fun, the joy of poker is a joyful game. I mean, the social aspects. I mean, there's so much to poker that people don't appreciate. That is not gambling. It's the social side of it. But when you have to play to win money, and when it's a profession, when it's food on the table, it's a whole different situation. And going out there the way I did and playing day after day and not being able to take a day off, and it became a job. And the worst day of the job was when I played a $10,000 tournament, not the main event. This was another tournament, and I busted out on a bad beat. And I said, I'm going to go and rebuy in. And I did, and I lost $20,000 in one day, which, it was very disturbing to me. It was disturbing because I lost control. I shouldn't have rebought in. It was back to the old addictive gambling type of behavior, which is very, very discouraging to somebody who feels that they've now gained some level of control over that kind of a habit.
I see. I got to say, when I was reading all this, Marvin, I was thinking that you had pretty much in your mind given the money already away, that you were going with $50,000, that you really had no expectation of winning, although you would talk about winning and you'd say, hey, I could win $1 million, I could win a couple million, maybe blah, 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 blah. My inference from all this was, when he started out, he knew that it was very unlikely that he would end up with doing anything other than $50,000. So tell me now and tell our listeners, did you really have an expectation that you would leave Las Vegas after this adventure with more money than you started?
Let's put it this way. I didn't always ever bring truck. No, I didn't. I honestly, that was the one nice thing about it. And that's what I tell anybody. If you're going to go and have a fantasy, don't do it with case money. Don't do it with money that's going to affect your lifestyle. Have the money and expect the fact that you're not going to have the money at the end. If you do, hey, that's a great bonus. It's a wonderful feeling. But I went out there with the full expectation that I might come home with nothing. Obviously, that was not my objective, but it was a realization, and it did happen. As a matter of fact, it more than happened because I had given myself some elasticity, and I was able to lose more than I expected to, and it still didn't hurt me. But I mean, it was a somber lesson in what it means to go up against odds where, 4 out of 5 times, I said, I mean, even the best professional poker players will tell you 4 out of 5 times you're going to lose. And, I'm not used to that kind of a batting percentage when I work, when I write or when I teach or when I consult, which are the other three things I do for a living.
Right. Because when you write a book, even if it's panned by the critics, they don't take money away from you for a bad book. But in poker, you have a bad session and you lose money.
Yes, you do. And you lose a little bit of yourself with it.
Yep. Hey, one last thing before we close. You make reference many, many times to your wife. And what I'm wondering is, what would you say is the secret to having a successful marriage while also being an inveterate gambler?
The secret is to never be in a situation where you gamble so much money that you can't support your wife in a way that she expects to be supported.
Well, there you go. So you were able...
And by the way, one other hint, too, I would advise normal gamblers, do not tell your wife about the Hendon mob.
Right. So
because then they can look you up. As a matter of fact, when I had my One World Poker Tour final table appearance, I don't know who was in line first, the IRS or my
wife. She doesn't play poker at all?
Yeah, she does. Actually, she doesn't play the table games. She plays the video slots.
I see.
The video poker.
And I got to say, Marvin, I got enormous pleasure out of reading about your bucket list journey. And I hope somehow we bump into each other because it sounds like you would be a great guy to just sit down, talk, and eat with.
Well, actually, that would be my privilege.
Great. Well, listeners, we were talking with Marvin Carlins, A Chip and a Chair, a great story, a great read. I hope you all go out and get it. Thank you, Marvin, for joining us.
Okay, thanks, Ashley, and have a wonderful day.
All right, take care. That'll do it, listeners. We're going to end the show, but come back next week. And until then, good luck and good day.
Rip the bed.